Hi everyone, I'm Athena Raven and I'm joined today by Joseph, ally, my partner in crime. And you would have probably seen our first video, part 1, which is on Joseph's channel. If you haven't subscribed already, go and join his community there as well. We talk about how incredible manifestation is in terms of manifesting either a specific person, or in our case, it was just manifesting love, that perfect partner. How your manifestation, your intention influences the other. You hear about this whole topic of free will. Everyone's going to be moved to bring your manifestation about. And in Joe's video, we concentrated on how his list that he had created, his intentions that he had set for his perfect partner, his wife, was it?
Yes, my wife.
And how I was moved essentially to fit that list. Doesn't matter, do you dealing with someone who is maybe stubborn, you're thinking they're never going to change their mind, or they're never going to make the first move, or they're trust me, I went against everything that I believed. Making the first move, going against all my beliefs about getting married.
You made the first move twice.
Thank you for that. Twice, apparently. So if you're really concerned about how am I going to get them to change their mind, how am I going to get them to do this, there's this distance, there's no contact, there's no, how is my manifestation going to affect them? I think we're in that rare sort of circumstance whereby two people have been practicing the law for a long time, and we've actually analyzed this bridge to death, haven't we? So,
and there's still a lot that's just being made known still. There's so much more that I'm excited to unravel.
So we've already, Joseph, you already talked about anyway, like how you created your list. We've done a video before about how we manifested each other in the first instance as well. So I'm going to put all the relevant links in the description box below. Do check them out. The link to Joseph's video, part 1 to this, and also how we met each other and stuff. And we'll do more answering a lot of your questions, because I know a lot of you have some amazing questions about, well, being a couple of manifestors, seasoned manifestors. Coco's just given up in the heat. I'll probably just see him like just
he's flopped.
So look at this.
Oh, it's okay, buddy.
Have you given up, Bean? What happened?
Abusing you.
What happened, baby? Huh? So I've already talked about how you influenced me, but I also had set intentions and did an imaginal act in relation to my desire, my dream person, what characteristics my ideal person had to have. And that was something I didn't write out as specifically as you did. I think as years went by, we've all got a checklist and we all adapt our checklist as we go along. And mine certainly was. With every experience I was having, every bad experience, like with the online dating, I decided, right, let me tweak my internal list. And then I sat down one day, I got really fed up, and I, with defiance, so I used that anger and frustration, you know how I was talking about in my previous video, I used that defiance to set very strong intentions about, yes, they're going to be a business owner, they're going to be into the same things as me, spirituality, all these other things, a homeowner. You know, I was fed up of always my previous relationship. You know, I was looking after him and taking care of him and in a better position than him, and he was not interested in spirituality, so I couldn't talk to him about anything. So all these things I realized were important. Say goodbye, Bing. I'm going to put him down here.
That was a good close-up, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm just saying goodbye. Yeah.
So how did my intentions affect you?
A couple of things just came to mind. I think just for the sake of maybe so that I don't forget. And the first thing, there were a couple things. The first thing was the house. The second thing was me coming here and why I came here. So I think those are two very important things that I could talk about that'll kind of explain to you how I was thinking, how her manifestation impacted me.
And still is to this day.
You just manifested that,
I
didn't
did.
you?
I did.
Okay. So, I suppose first thinking about the house. This is really interesting. Really interesting. The more I think about it, the more interesting it becomes. And it becomes a lot of times the chicken and the egg. Who imagined what first, and who, I don't know, who manifested what, who then made me imagine what, who then manifested you imagining what. But anyway, point being is, you imagined, or in your internal list, you specified that the person that you wanted was going to be a homeowner.
Yeah.
Right? So you essentially wanted someone on your level, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I swear it was sudden. It was out of the blue. It was not long before I had met Athena that I was talking with my mother. I had moved from San Diego to North Carolina to live at my mother's after I had gone through my breakup. And I was there for a while. But then suddenly I decided I was going to buy a house in New Jersey. And the way that happened was my mother was talking about how she was unhappy where she lived in North Carolina. She also had gone through a breakup like the year before or something, or months, I forget at this point. A little while before, but she had moved down to North Carolina because of being in a relationship with someone. And then it didn't work out. So all of her friends and family and everything is up in New Jersey. So at this point, when I moved to my mother's temporarily, she was in North Carolina after she had already broken up with Rich, was his name. And her and I were talking. I was unhappy because of the situation I was previously in, the relationship I was in California with a psychotic ex. And
so, like you throw that in like it's so nonchalant, relationship I was in earlier with a psychotic ex. Okay.
So, and so my mother is talking about how she is unhappy. And my mother's a people person. She's more a people person than I am. I'm very, I'm just a thinker at all levels. That's where I spend most of my time in my own head. She spends most of her time talking to people, hanging out with people. I think most normal people do. But she vented to me about how she was unhappy. And I said, well, maybe I can go, maybe I'll buy a house in New Jersey. So anyway, I forget how it happened, but it's interesting. Is like the next day, my mom said that something happened at her job, and either she quit, or I think she quit. That's what happened. She just quit for whatever purpose. Something transpired there, and she was like, "Can we please move to New Jersey? Can you please buy a house in New Jersey?" That's really what happened. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. It was just on a whim. She was the messenger. And so, but it was on a whim, but it wasn't in the same time because I was in a variable position. I had broken up with someone not too long before. I wanted to change things up. And so I decided to go ahead and maybe start looking for houses. And I got I made a TikTok on this actually. I think it was the first TikTok I ever released. It was, actually Haley made it for me, my sister. She used to do all my editing and stuff. But she was like, just tell everyone how you did it. But I essentially talked about how I found this realtor and I told her I was coming up to New Jersey from North Carolina to look at houses on such and such date. She said, okay, I'll set this up for you. And the day before so that was just a few days prior, but then the night before I came up there, apparently this is what happened. So I'll tell you from my perspective. I get up to New Jersey to go view the houses, and there's a house that's on the list, on the agenda for the day that I did not see from the day before. It wasn't one of the houses that I picked out. And so I called Kelly and I asked her what the deal was. And she said, I woke up, or right before I fell asleep last night, I thought to myself, you know what, Joe is driving all the way up from North Carolina. It's like, by the way, that's far. It's like, I think it's like 7 hours or something like that.
Wow.
And she's like, you know what, let me just make sure he has everything. And she went on and she found a listing that just was put on minutes before she had that impulse to go check the computer. So in other words, in her perspective, she was laying down and suddenly felt compelled to check the computer to make sure that she had everything packed in for that day because I was driving so far, and stumbled upon a house that had just been listed a minute or two before. Added that, and when we got there, that was like the fourth house of the day that we viewed. It was perfect. I mean, it was insanely perfect. That's when I asked her what the hell happened. She told me that exact story. I put a bid in it. By the end of that day, I had that house. That house was mine. And what's interesting is by the time it closed, I had started talking to Athena days before, really, or like maybe a week before, I don't know, a week before, 2 weeks before.
Yeah, literally just
very
before
briefly
we were
before it
closing on the
closed.
house.
And so I got the house. I bought the house, and within a week, I believe, I wasn't even unpacked in the house, and I was already on a flight to England to meet you. So I think grand total, I spent 2 weeks time at my house in New Jersey before I moved here. Period. I only lived in the house for 2 weeks. But and the cool thing about it as well is my mother had her place to stay then. She had her home, and that was fine, for a while until I sold the house. But that's what happened. So all of that, I bought a house. Right? I spent all this money on a house and all this stuff, and I lived in it for 2 weeks, and that was it.
See what I did?
This is
See
her.
what I did?
Yeah. So all this happened behind the scenes, right? All this happened in her mind. What did you even say in your list?
That was it. There had to be a homeowner. So it was interesting that the time that our paths then crossed, the time this bridge unfolded where we would meet, he would essentially be a homeowner by the time I decided that, there is something special here, we're going to be together. So you ticked that box. You ticked that box of having tattoos, being into the same music.
Tattoos? What tattoos do I have?
Nothing. Not a single one. There was quite a few things, and there's quite a few specific things, even to him being a Cancerian, which I don't know why. I don't go by star signs. I don't care. I flipped a negative thought I was having, and I just turned it into my list. I just said, right, okay, the next person is going to be a Cancer. I don't really care about star signs. But there were so many specific things about it. There was something else as well. So obviously, apparently, I made the first move. Twice, apparently. But then you... And this is the thing as well, because a lot of people will look at the obstacles, will look at, okay, but they're at a distance. What if I'm manifesting someone I never met before, or if it's someone, it doesn't matter.
That's 5,000 miles away.
Right.
That's a huge one. What if they live in this country or that country? So what caused me?
I didn't care about distance even when I met you. I didn't actually even focus on the fact that it was going to be a long distance relationship. It didn't. It was so interesting. It didn't even factor into my mind. And as I've said to a lot of clients and people I've worked with,
the same way as you had said you're never getting married, I said I was never doing a long distance relationship ever. So I would not even entertain in any way, shape, or form anyone who had contacted me, communicated with me, who lived in a place that was outside of, say, a short distance. I wouldn't even entertain it. But that was instantaneously thrown out in my mind. So that would have also been something based on your list, your manifestation, that had changed something that I'm talking about solid. I am extremely stubborn, very stubborn. There's nothing you could do. If I've made up my mind with something, that's it. But nevertheless, it's like you sidestepped it entirely. So it wasn't even an object in my mind whatsoever, the fact that you were a gazillion. You may as well have been a gazillion miles away. And then it didn't even matter to me.
It didn't, yeah. It's true. And it didn't factor into me at all. They didn't put anything in the list about distance. Oh, it's nothing specific about that. But you see, that's the thing. It doesn't matter if you've met the person before or not. Is your specific person an ex, or is it someone you've never met? Are you starting from scratch? Doesn't matter. You're all going to be moved at the right time. And that's what I was saying before in previous videos. You don't have a choice in the matter. You're quite naturally going to be moved. You're naturally going to have these thoughts and this compulsion to change your beliefs. It doesn't matter how long you've had these beliefs. Yeah, but my SP always said they would never get married. Doesn't matter. Like I said, for 40 years of my life, I was adamant I was never getting married. You were adamant you were never going to have a long distance relationship. You were also adamant that you were not going to make a big sort of gesture, big bold move first, because you'd had bad experiences before, hadn't you?
Well, the deal is that because of my I suppose you could say my personality, my self-concept, the way that I believed that the world works. For many years in all my relationships, I was always met with a constant truth that I always did more I always did more. I always compelled things to work. I always forced things in the direction that I thought that they should go. And I was not someone who would let things play out. It was almost like an inherent fear within me that if I myself didn't take the reins and control things and steer things the way that I wanted them to go, then the other person would not do it themselves. But the problem with that is that it leaves you in a position where you are always questioning, what if I don't make the move though? What if I'm not watching? Are they going to do the right thing? Whatever it is. And so in this case, prior to meeting Athena, I had a conversation with my mother. And again, all this was in relation to the fact of how catastrophically horrible the last relationship that I was in was. And we had decided, and it wasn't a struggle of a decision. It was just a clear indication that, like, yeah, I'm not going to do anything. That's fine. We'll just see what we'll see what she's willing to do. Not you, but in general, she as a concept, any girl that I'm considering being with. And so that was a hard decision. Not hard like difficult, but I made a firm, let's change that, with cemented decision in my mind, and it made perfect sense because I needed to know. In this case, I always was in that position where if I wasn't steering the wheel, and then how do I know things are going to go right? So anyway, that's why. But that was a firm decision I had made, but I changed that decision.
So it doesn't matter how stubborn you are, you will be moved to fit each other's intentions, whatever intention you've set, so you can change a person's beliefs and decisions, thoughts. You affect everyone. We've even had people who have no connection to us, or people who just watch our channel, for example, or random people off the streets and that, making certain suggestions or comments, or that then moved our bridge along unbeknownst to us as well. There was so many things. It's just all the moving pieces of the puzzle came together, and it's quite an intricate thing to try and break down for you guys. And that's why we always say test it for yourselves and see. You'll see how everything is taken care of. You do not have to worry about, is there distance, is there age gap, is there they've made the decision that they never want to get married, they've made a decision they never want this. It really doesn't matter. You're going to be moved, and they're going to be moved, and you're going to be having these thoughts come up as well that then's going to put you into action. You're going to think it's coming from your own free will, they're your own thoughts, but they're not at all. It's all part of the bigger picture. It's all part of the bridge. I can't remember if there was any other sort of key things, because there's so many different things to it, but we wanted to just touch the key things because people are always wondering. It's a very famous question, isn't it? What's happening to the other person that you are manifesting? And so we can say with absolute experience, so much.
I have something.
So much. Yeah.
I remember something. So as it relates to a long distance relationship, there's another aspect that's really important, that in my life anyway, like the decisions that I had made prior, firm decisions, and we're talking about for years I had stuck firm to those decisions. If things had not gone the way they went with my past relationship and my friendships, then I would not have been in a situation where I would have come here. I'm in another country. So in other words, when I was in California, the end of my relationship that I was in, it was really sad because every friend that I had thought was my best friend, that I had for years, ended up turning on me. The ex that I had is very manipulative, and she has a very, she's like the perfect victim, you could say. Very compelling with her, I guess you could say, story. Her acting is quite compelling. She had me fooled for a very long time. And so with that said, during the end of my relationship, certain things happened where the friends that were supposed to be my friends no longer were my friends, which led me into a position where I could leave California scot-free without feeling guilty whatsoever. So the life that I had built there, I no longer had any ties to. So I could instantly, and I did instantly, move from San Diego and flew to New Jersey right off the bat, leaving all of my stuff behind. Almost all of my belongings, except for my books and my computers, were left behind. My wardrobes, my decorations, Sadly, the paintings that used to be in my videos, those beautiful paintings that were painted for me, are all gone. But that stuff doesn't really matter to me. Again, like I said, I was scot-free. So with that, I was able to fly to New Jersey and then was able to, I had no more ties. The fact that I was in California for 7.5 years, meant that I was already away from New Jersey. Now, I didn't have any family in California. In New Jersey, my best friend he actually moved out of New Jersey and moved to Maryland. My family, for the most part, all moved out of New Jersey while I was away, for the most part. My father lived in Pennsylvania for however long already anyway. My mother moved to North Carolina. My sister moved to South Carolina. And so then, boom, I had no more ties in New Jersey, and then moved to North Carolina. Then, like I said, bought the house in New Jersey, but I had really nothing there. So it was not only the fact that I didn't have anything really there, but it was the fact of the bad taste that was left in my mouth, that I actually ended up having a conversation with my mother prior to meeting Athena, probably a week or two before, saying how I wish I could just leave this country. I wish I could just leave this country. I would never say that. I used to fully, completely, and totally love the country that I was in. And even now, there's so many great things about it, but it's the people, the bad taste that was left in my mouth that gave me the mindset to want to leave. But really, that would be as a result of, she would fit perfectly with the manifestation as a whole. She wanted someone that just so happened to be me. I wanted someone that just so happened to be her. And these bridges unfolded perfectly, meticulously. I was given all these thoughts, experiences, etc. Likewise with her, that caused me to perfectly say sayonara and come here.
Sayonara.
I digress. Anyway, but that was an important factor as well. That was definitely an important factor.
So it's really key to keep this in mind. There's going to be so many moving pieces of the puzzle. That's why we don't pay attention to the how. We don't try and get logical with any of this. We just try and see the bigger picture, what it is that you want, what do you desire, set that intention, step into that reality, experience it for yourself now. And I was doing that all the time just for fun, half the time never having a face or a name to my imaginal acts, just feeling out the ideal relationship, the traits that my ideal partner would exhibit, and the rest of it, this person just magically appears on my doorstep, and there you go. And it was just amazing. So I really hope that this video helped you guys out. I'm going to put the links to the other videos in the description box below, as well as to my website and coaching.
Discord.
Check out, oh yeah.
I forgot to mention in my video.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Feel free to.
So we have released, likely today, is a Discord. You essentially go to the Patreon, register. There's a Discord now. It's a chat. For those of you who don't know what Discord is, it's usually for like solely initially it was made for gamers, but over time it's been just a place for communities themselves. And so for us, I had a Discord associated with my VIP program, for those of you who are followers from all the way back then. But the Discord channel is a place where you can communicate and chat with manifestors who are on the journey just like you. This is a place where there's no judgment, a place where you can express yourself, get feedback, communicate with us, with yours truly, so that you can get the sort of the information you need that perhaps you can't get so readily available to you. I know a lot of people I know my experience is people get coaching with me just to talk to me. Sometimes they don't even want advice. They literally just need another manifestor to share their ideas with. And so if you're one of those people, or if you do want to just communicate with others, or you do want advice, or share your manifestation stories, get insider tips, whatever you want, this is a place for you. We're also going to have specific or special features. There's going to be a few different tiers. Basically, anyone can register. It's going to be super affordable. It's not meant to have a big paywall, so only the special of the special can get in. Literally, this is a place for serious manifestors, any serious manifestors who really want to take their stuff to a next level, but also get close with others and feel like you're building something, a manifestation lifestyle.
Right.
Do you want to add anything to
Building up
that?
a community of success. That has always been my intention, and I'm sure yours as well, that we're just building up this community of success. We're going to saturate you with success stories, guidance, and it's just going to be a nice place. We've got a great community here. We've got a lovely family, actually, and so just a place for all of you to congregate together and have a chat, so you don't have to wait for the premieres of our videos or our live chats to be able to converse with each other. You can do that freely on this Discord at any time, and we're always going to be here to support you guys, okay, as well as offering things like group coaching as well. There's more affordable means of getting that support. So
yeah, that's right.
We love you all. Thank you for joining. Any final words?
Keep manifesting. Remember, anything is possible. Despite the obstacles, despite the problems, despite anything at all, if you, like, literally, this is not just some feel-good nonsense. If I'm serious, I hate that. I hate that motivational nonsense. You could do it.
I want to vibrate high
No,
so I can
check
get
it,
my manifestation in 3 days.
Sincerely, whether you love yourself or you hate yourself, whether you're in a relationship, whether you're single, whether you're broke or whether you are rich, whether you're fat or whether you're in shape, manifesting will work for you. Literally, whether you're horribly depressed, on the verge of throwing in the towel, or the happiest person, the most successful, confident person in the world, all you have to do is follow a specific set of principles and it will work every single time.
Thanks for joining us. And we'll do some more videos. We'll do some more like Q&A videos and stuff. So stay tuned, and I'll see you guys on Friday. Take care.
Subscribe, bell icon, peace, algorithm.